I've never made any secret of the fact that I am terrible at online first-person shooters. Despite being an absolute liability to any team unfortunate enough to have me, I still enjoy them immensely. One of my all-time favorites is Breaches by Triangle Factory. It's a near-perfect example of tactical, team-based VR shooting. So when the studio announced Forefront, a large-scale Battlefield-style shooter designed specifically for VR, my excitement was immediate. Now that it's here, I've spent a good few hours running, driving, and dying across its chaotic maps, and I can confidently say that this might just be the VR shooter to beat in 2025. Forefront is Triangle Factory's ambitious take on large-scale warfare, swapping Breaches' tight Rainbow Six adjacent tension for sprawling 16 versus 16 conflicts across huge open maps. There is some general lore as to why there are two opposing teams. However, that setup is ultimately so unnecessary that after a couple of hours of playing the game, I can't even remember what it was. But that's okay, because that's not what we're here for. This isn't a story-driven campaign. It's a playground for strategy, skill, and a lot of explosions. Players can choose from a range of classes, each with unique gear and abilities, and deploy into one of several distinct environments that support both infantry and vehicular combat. From the moment you spawn in, it's clear Forefront isn't about subtlety. It's about blowing shit up. Hoorah! The game features two primary modes at launch. Conquest, the standout mode, tasks your team with taking control of as many sites as them on the map as possible while depleting enemy reinforcements. It's perfectly suited for Forefront's open-world structure, encouraging coordinated assaults, flanking maneuvers, and all-out chaos. The other mode, Rush, divides the map into segments containing two objectives each. As attackers, you gain ground by destroying both objectives in a segment. As defenders, you must stand your ground and deplete the attacker's reinforcements to ensure victory. Each 16-player team is divided into 4 smaller squads, and success heavily depends on how well those squads communicate and coordinate. Joining friends from the main menu will put you in the same squad, making it easy to team up with people you know. Forefront also launches with a progression system that gradually unlocks upgraded weapons and new gear as you play. Admittedly, my personal skill level, or lack thereof, ensured that I didn't even make it to level 2, but chatting with more experienced players, I found out that the better you perform, the more powerful equipment becomes available. While I can't speak to it firsthand, the players I was squadded up with said that it was an excellent progression system that gives players even more incentive to keep coming back. To add to the tactical depth, Forefront includes 4 playable character classes, each bringing a unique role to the battlefield. The Assault class is a great pick to mount attacks on objectives, equipped with a semi-automatic rifle and sticky explosives for balanced offense and defense. The Engineer focuses on the repair and destruction of vehicles in the battlefield, specializing in heavy ordnance and serving as your best counter to helicopters and tanks, thanks to their trusty rocket launcher. Medics make sure their teammates stay in the fight and take on a more supportive role, keeping your squad alive in the thick of battle. Finally, the Recon class avoids direct confrontation and supports their squad from afar with their sniper rifle, providing overwatch from a distance. Mixing up your squad composition between these classes or ensuring every squad on your team has full representation is a core part of Forefront's tactical gameplay. While it's possible to just John Wick your way to victory, you're far more likely to win through good communication and well-planned squad dynamics. Forefront absolutely rewards teamwork. My first hour was spent sprinting around like a headless chicken, testing weapons, driving vehicles, and dying gloriously at the hands of better organized players. Every time I ran solo, I was dismantled. Every time I stuck with a squad, the game came alive. Covering a teammate, pushing objectives, flanking a tank while your squad holds its attention. In those moments, Forefront becomes something really special. The gunplay is, unsurprisingly, excellent. Triangle Factory have always excelled at weapon handling, and this is no exception. Firing feels responsive and weighty, reloads are tactile, and every weapon type, from semi-automatics to sniper rifles and explosives, have been tuned with care. The combat system walks a fine line between realism and accessibility, striking that sweet spot that feels immersive without letting the realism get in the way of the fun. The maps in Forefront are brilliantly varied and do an excellent job of encouraging different playstyles. From a tropical island paradise designed for seaborne and airborne combat to the vast icy wastelands of Siberia that favor armored warfare, each battlefield feels distinct and demands a different tactical approach. Even at this early stage, it's clear that players will eventually form map-specific strategies and squad builds that take full advantage of the terrain and vehicles. Speaking of the vehicles, to my delight, there are many, and they are brilliant. Quad bikes, Humvees, tanks, helicopters, jet skis. Forefront throws a full arsenal of military transport into the mix. Be warned though, driving them requires proper VR legs. Barrel over hilly terrain in a Jeep, and you will quickly learn the meaning of motion sickness. But once you find your rhythm, the vehicles become a playground of opportunity. A particular highlight was a map set on a group of small tropical islands where jet skis and speedboats take center stage. The sheer freedom to switch between air, land, and water based on the terrain and the strategy you're employing in the moment gives Forefront a dynamic that few VR shooters have ever attempted, let alone succeeded at. One of my favorite moments, or at least one that I tried to achieve, was loading explosives onto a quad bike, driving it straight towards an enemy squad, and then jumping off and detonating it at just the right moment. In my case, it ended up with me face down in a crater, but the potential for cinematic mayhem is undeniably there. From my first few hours, Forefront feels like a major leap forward for large-scale VR shooters. The combat is tight, the vehicles are exhilarating, and the maps are big enough to make every battlefield unique. There are, of course, things that will take time to perfect, balancing weapons and polishing performance and ensuring long-term community engagement, but the foundation here is rock solid. Triangle Factory have once again demonstrated why they're among the best developers working in VR shooters today. If you love the Battlefield-style experience, or even if you just want to see what truly large-scale shooters feel like in VR, then Forefront should be at the top of your list. I'll reserve final judgment until we've spent more time with the full release, but based on first impressions, Triangle Factory might have just delivered VR's next must-play shooter. If you have enjoyed this video and would like to stay up to date with all the news, reviews, previews, impressions, and other cool VR things from the channel, do hit the subscribe button now. And until next time, happy gaming!